Today, I'm doing something I've never done before on this channel. We're recreating an actual design for an animated social media post in Canva to engage your audience and stop the scroll. Ready? Let's do this. Hi, my lovely people, it's Natalia and welcome back to my channel where I help you create better content and grow on social media. Today, I'm coming to you with another Canva tutorial, but this time it'll be slightly different. Instead of focusing on specific Canva functionalities, we'll recreate this actual design together step by step so that you get to use different Canva animations and learn how to get creative. Remember, becoming better at design requires practice and inspiration. By recreating this fun project with me, you'll not only learn new techniques, but also reconnect with your creative side. Plus, if you're as excited as I am about this new format, hit that thumbs up and let me know in the comments. I might make it a series to help you out on your design journey. Let's jump in. We're on the Canva homepage, and what I want to do first is to create a new design. Of course, I could just go to the create a design button. However, I want to make sure that I'm in the video editor, and therefore I'm going to choose videos from here in the middle and go to mobile video. Now let's start with a good habit, and I'm going to name my design Creative Canva Animation Project. Now, the first thing you want to do when creating any sort of an animation is to make sure that you have a vision for it. So I want to start with a photo of myself within a kind of a phone frame. And from there, I'm going to animate loads of kind of different elements on the sides, and there will be a lot of text kind of moving in and moving out. So this is my general vision. I know what I want to achieve. So this is what I'm going to start with. Now, point one is, of course, having your background set up so it carries throughout all of your slides. And I'm going to start with my own kind of video gradient. Of course, you can always go to elements, go to gradients here at the top. And you can just choose videos to see if there's anything that matches your brand style. You can also filter things, but I'm going to just choose my own templates from my brand assets in here. Let me just move it around, fix it to the background, and I want to just position it and lock it in place so that I don't by accident move it around while I'm adding my animated objects. At this stage, I also want to make sure that my timeline is as big as possible, so I've got more way of kind of maneuvering around it. It's a very short animation. My gradient takes 7.4 seconds. It might be a bit longer or a bit shorter because I can always duplicate the slides, but I want to go to this icon here at the bottom, toggle it to zoom thumbnails, and from here I can just stretch it out so I've got enough. I don't want that bar to kind of be appearing at the bottom, so I think kind of halfway is a good place for me. Next, we want to add the core of our design, of course, and this means that I will go to my elements and search for iPhone 13 frame. I'll just go for this one in here, just make it a little bit smaller. And again, from my brand assets, from my photos, I can just choose my photo that I want to use for this one. Let's say this is the one that I want to start with. Making sure that I'm cropping it to the size of this frame so it doesn't kind of go over it in any way. I can always zoom in, make it a little bit smaller from this side, and I can just send it to the background, select both of them and group them. And again, that's going to be the basis of my design. Now from here, the next part would be to add my basic text. I want to say start using at my first stage of the animation. So I'll just add text by clicking T. So I'll say start just in here. I'll make it much bigger, let's say like this. And from here, I can just go to a grander. That's the font I want to use, but I want to use it in the medium boldness. From here, just make sure to have that selected. I want it white. And from here, I'm going to go to effects because I want it to be neon as well. Now, I don't want it to be kind of too overpowering. So I think something towards the lower end will be much, much better. I think start is the perfect, again, start of this design. And what I want to do next is to make sure that I am positioning it correctly. So I'm just going to stretch it out so that every time I kind of move it around, I can just quickly place it in the middle. From here, I can just duplicate another one, change it to say using. Brilliant. So this is the basis for my first type of an animation that I want for this design. Now I want to create that first intro. So I'm going to split it at around 0.8 seconds. Of course, it will depend on how quickly you want the elements to move. So I'm just going to hit S. This splits your timeline, but if you want to do it manually, you can just right click and hit split page. It's going to do the same exact thing. Now let's move back to my first slide. And from here, what I want to do is to remove the using, just because I wanted the same effect on the text and same position that I wanted to kind of end up at. So I'm going to remove it. That's going to come to play for my second slide. So I'm going to animate it in just a second. And for these two, I want to animate them so that the start comes from the top and the phone comes from the bottom up. So I'm going to first add my guides. Now, if you don't have the rulers up here, go to File, View Settings, and Show Rulers and Guides. I always have them enabled because I use my guides all the time. Now I want to drag this one so it's positioned kind of right at the top where this element finishes. So I know that I need to position it correctly when I'm animating. Same goes for the side. It's just going to be a little bit easier for me to position it correctly. And in terms of the start, that's the same thing. It's going to end up in this place. Now I'm going to take my phone and drag it all the way down. As you can see, I don't see the edge of the screen. However, I do have that grip so I can move the element into position. Now I'm going to go to Animate. Of course, I have all the beautiful different animations from here, but I want to create my own specific animation for that first slide so that you guys know how to use it, and I want to have all the power that I want for this particular animation. Now from here, I'm just going to hold Shift so that I've got a straight line, and from here I'm going to just drag it up to that position. I think I went a little bit too far, so I'm just going to delete the path and try again. Just like that, you could see at the very end of me animating it that it kind of attached itself to the guide, and I knew that I'm in the correct position, hence why I used those guides. Now from here, of course, I don't want to keep the original. I want to make it kind of as smooth as possible, so I'm just going to use this and adjust the speed slightly. Now I'm going to do the same thing with my start text. So I'm going to just drag it upwards so it's barely visible, just like this. And I'm going to, again, go to Animate, Create Animation, and animate the same way. Perfect. I'm just going to click smooth, speed it up, and this is what it looks like. Now, a little tip from me, if you just don't want to use the play button, you can quickly just drag this bar in here and just see what the animation looks like. As you can see with my second slide, the using is popping in, but I want to animate it. So this is my next step. I'm just going to click in here, go to Animate, and I absolutely love the shift transition. I think it looks really great for different types of text, and you can of course kind of maneuver it with character, with word. Of course, that's just one word, so I'm going to play around with this one. This is what it looks like in here, and we can progress to our slide number 3. Now I want to make sure that these two disappear once my third slide comes in. Now for using, I've used the shift animation, and as you can see, it's animating on both, which means that once my second slide ends, this one is going to disappear the same way using the shift animation. For this one, I want to just add typewriter, but I don't want it to happen on enter. I want it to happen on exit. So this is what I'm going to do, because if I added this on enter, there would be a very awkward thing happening in between the two slides. So let me just show you this so you understand what it looks like. On enter, if I went in there, it would just disappear and start appearing again, which is definitely not what we want. So I'm just going to choose on exit for this one. And like this, it just stays in the same position. For my second slide, I want it to end roughly around kind of a second more. So I'm just going to split it. Second 0.1 is absolutely fine with me. As you can see, the usings coming in and then they're disappearing. Now for my next slides, I want for the text, your creative voice, and to kind of animate in and out between the 3 different slides. Okay, I'm just going to copy this one because I think I want the exact same font. So again, a Grandier medium, perfect. But I don't want the neon effect anymore. I think maybe I'll add a shadow potentially in here. Let's kind of go to something slightly like this, maybe a little bit more blurred. And obviously I want it kind of much bigger this time. So say 144, and I'm just going to say your. Okay, maybe the shadow is not the best option, so I'm just going to go for lift in here, just like this, and I'm going to add 1 space and 1 space in between, so I've got more kind of space around it, so I can animate those elements easily. Okay, I've repositioned it again, and what I want to do now is for this text to kind of bounce in from the left side, and what that means is that I need to kind of transition it between the 2 slides. Now, for this one, I want to use my absolute favorite transition in here. So I'm just going to go to the bottom, add transition, and choose match and move. It's an absolute brilliant transition, something that I use for the majority of the time, really. So I'm just going to use it in between these 2. And what that does is that it kind of recognizes all of those elements between themselves. So I don't need to kind of worry about putting them into motion with the Animate solution. So now I'm going to just remove these 2 because I don't need them any longer on my 3rd slide. I want them to disappear just like this. Now we can see that it kind of breathes that you're in, but I want this element to go back to my 2nd slide. And from here, I'm going to maybe kind of rotate it like this and motion it to the side. And this is particularly why I've actually chosen to add those extra lines. So I've got something to kind of grab onto so that the text is no longer visible. However, I still kind of can grab it from the canvas. So let's see what it looks like in here. And just like that, we've created that fun little motion that just adds something extra to the animations, which we wouldn't be able to add from the animation panel at the top. Now we've got this in animation. I'm going to go for another kind of second roughly and just split again so I can move it outside of the script. So now I've got it in here. As you can see, it just kind of carried over just because I split it. And I can do the exact same thing. So I can first add transition, add the match and move, because I'm not sure if I'm going to be using them for the rest of the slides. So I don't need to kind of apply between all of the pages. And now on our 4th slide, I'm going to move it out. So I'm again going to rotate it this side and just kind of move it outside. Let's see what it looks like. Perfect, exactly what I wanted. Now let me add another 2 slides for my creative and voice texts. Okay, I'm going to just quickly adjust the timings from here. So these are roughly my 3 slides for, again, your creative voice. Okay, I've duplicated my other text, so I now have my creative in the middle. And actually I was thinking about creating something very similar, but then with the match and move, again, since it doesn't have that element before on the previous page, so I've not copied creative on slide number 3. This means that it doesn't have anything to kind of pull from. So the default is that kind of breathing in transition. I kind of like it actually for this one. So I think I'm going to just leave it at that. So we've got start using your creative, and now we need voice. Let's add match and move in here, and we can add our voice text in here. So I'm just going to go for your, and let's go voice. Now let's say for this one, I want a bit of an animation so that it kind of almost falls into place, but backwards. So I'm going to, again, grab my voice from here, go back to my other slide, and from here, just add that voice. But again, I want it to disappear. So what I'm going to do is to kind of skew it a little bit, just like this, and just kind of put it down like that. And hopefully that will give me that kind of an effect of it kind of falling in backwards, if that makes sense. Perfect. That's exactly what I wanted. So this is how fun the match and move transition is. It really helps you get kind of creative and create that motion that you wouldn't be able to through the animation panel. And also it just helps you kind of expand the way you think of all the different elements and how they can interact with each other. So at the moment, this is what we've got, your creative voice. I'm very, very happy with what it looks like. Let's finish off this animation. So I'm going to copy it over to this side, and now I'm going to skew it in the other direction, so a little bit like that, and let's move it downwards. Let's see what it looks like. Oh, I need to add the transition, match and move, and let's see what it looks like from here. Perfect. Okay, that's gotten quite short just because every time we add the match and move transition, it takes a certain amount of time. So it kind of takes it from how long those slides are. So again, I can just simply adjust it from here to 1 second, 1 second so that these three just come up kind of at the same time. I'm not bothered by that extra 1/10 of a second in here. So we've got Yart, creative, voice. Amazing. Now on to the fun bit. I want to go back to my 3rd, 4th, and 5th page, and I want to make sure that I'm adding something to it. I'm adding some interesting elements. And what I love to do is to actually go to elements and search for holographic. Holographic is one of those keywords that I absolutely love to use. There are so many funky kind of modern graphics that you can find in here. There are plenty of those amazing keywords that I can look at. And I think I like this one quite a bit. This is something that could really look nice within my design. So let's look at what I can do with it. Now give me 3 seconds. I'll just browse through all of those holographic elements and find the ones that I want to use for this design. Brilliant. So I've got all of my elements in here. I found the majority of them through, again, the holographic keyword. Now, all of those holographic elements that I've just used in this design are Canva Pro elements, but I've got a link for you down in the description box that gives you Canva Pro for 45 days for free, which is 2 whole weeks more than you'd normally get. So check it out, try out all the features, have fun with all the elements, and see how Canva Pro works for you. What I want to do is to make sure that they're animated kind of in between those slides. Of course, I've chosen ones that are quite fluid. They have this funky vibe to them that will be very easy to put into motion. So I'm just going to select my element, go to position and to layers. And from here, I'm just going to select the ones I want to copy. So all the new elements I've just added, I'm going to go back to slide number 2, add it in here, again, reposition it so that they're in the same place that they are on the slide 1 over. So from here, what I'm going to do is to show you what fun ways I can kind of make those transitions happen. So again, we've got the match and move because in here, in between those two, we animated this your element. So what I want to do is to make it smaller, just like this, and maybe slightly kind of rotate it like this so that I can quickly make it disappear. Let's make it even smaller, just like that. And what that's going to do is that it transitions in a very fun movement. So it's rotating, it's getting bigger. This is how powerful the match and move transition really is. So I'm going to do the exact same thing for all of my other elements in this design, and I'm going to see you in just a second. So I ended up with something that looks a little bit like this. So again, I've done the exact same thing for all the other elements. This one I've made smaller and moved it out of the way. The two in the corners are just literally hidden away. So I've just kind of stashed it away. Let's see what it looks like. So you can see this one's stashed away in here. This one is stashed away down at the bottom. And we've got this tiny little one that I've just shrunk. And this allowed me to create this fun animation. Now, what I want to do for the next slides is to, again, go to position from my 3rd slide, copy stuff over just like this. Again, I'm going Control C and Control V on the other one. Again, repositioning them all the same way. So these two are going above and these two are going below. And what I want to do for this transition, so again, they're in the same position at the moment, it's just the text that's changing. So what I want to do now is to maybe create something a little bit more funky. So I want to rotate it all the way like this and move it upwards. So what I want to happen for all of those elements is that they go kind of across the rectangle and they're all kind of shuffling positions and moving around in a fluid motion. So let's see what this looks like. Just like this, and I can kind of keep doing the same thing. So I'm going to rotate each of the elements slightly and just reposition it in different places. All right, let's see what it looks like in here. Brilliant. And just like that, I've created those amazing transitions. So as you can see, if you just kind of take all of those apart and look at the individual elements and what they're doing, this big ball, this big fluid ball is always kind of rotating and tumbling in the same kind of vein. So just like that, it's moving across like this. The little kind of fluid bubbles are rotating just around the edges of the phone, and the big one is kind of moving, but it's not rotating as much as the other one. So this is what I've kind of come up with, but this one at the bottom is actually getting bigger as well. So that was my kind of way of looking at the motion in here. So we've got this fun element. Let's see what it looks like from the beginning. Now I want to add a little bit more of the text, a little bit more kind of a maximalistic vibe to the whole thing. We're definitely not going minimal with this design. So I'm going to just add a piece of text in here. And I'm going to say unapologetically. This is what I want for everyone to live by. Be unapologetically yourself, be unapologetically creative. So let's, in that same vein, let's choose something a bit more fun. I think wedges is quite a good one for this one because it looks almost like a balloon. So let's do it like this. Let's make it much smaller. Something like maybe 42 in here. Perfect. It's quite small. Let's choose a color for this, maybe something from the actual element. So maybe this pink is quite a good one. Let's go for neon. I'm happy with the neon. And what I want to do with this one is to kind of make it curved. I want to actually make it into a whole rounded element. Just like that. And now I want to just adjust the spacing so that it creates that perfect circle. So I think roughly around here, I'm going to be happy with. And what I want to do with this particular element is to just make it kind of go to the background. I'm going to, again, position it underneath our phone. And again, I'm going to copy it from here, move it over to this particular design, move it underneath. I want to rotate it. That's 0. Let's go 45 degrees. Just like that. Let's see what it looks like. And as you can see, like with all the other different elements, it's just rotating like the rest of them. So this is why I wanted to create kind of that circle underneath. Okay, let's copy that over again, paste it in here, send it to the back and rotate it again. So this time I'm going to 90 again. And what that's going to do is, again, have it kind of rotate throughout this design. Okay, we've got this motion in here, this rotating motion. It looks pretty cool. I want to just hide this away in here. So what I'm going to do, again, paste it underneath, and I'm just going to kind of hide it away like this. So let's see what it looks like. Perfect. It's just kind of peeking from underneath there and just rotating throughout. By the way, if you want to learn how to design captivating content with Canva for social media and business, then sign up on the waitlist for my upcoming Canva course for beginners. I'm building the most transformational resource for you to help you become a creative powerhouse, so I can't wait to see you there. Now for the remainder, from our last slide in here, I want to add some text to say that it deserves to be heard. Your voice deserves to be heard. Okay, I didn't want to spend too much time explaining everything that I'm doing because I hope at this stage you understand how it all works and how to kind of operate within the design as well. So I've just changed that into moon time. That text color is again coming from those beautiful kind of designs from before, from those beautiful elements. So I've just changed it to it deserves to be heard. And of course, instead of kind of putting it all together, I didn't quite like the way it looked all crammed. So I wanted to space it out nicely. So I've got 3 different words separately, and now all I need to do is to animate them. Like for these ones, I could just leave them as kind of this breathing in, but I don't think it looks as naturally for something that is neon. So what I'm going to do is to go to Animate and again, try to do the typewriter effect, and I'm just going to leave it at enter. Let's do the same for these guys. Just like that, and let's see what it looks like. It deserves to be heard. Perfect. Now I'm just going to extend that slide a little bit longer because I don't want that to be super short like the other ones. The other ones are supposed to be more dynamic. And now from here, this is what the finished product looks like. You can always kind of pair it with music, make it kind of on cue and make all of those elements rotate. But what I wanted to show you, what the goal was with this specific design, is first of all, that you can have a ton of fun within Canva, and it's not all all very basic. You can actually create some really, really incredible stuff just by using all of those amazing tools that Canva already has within the toolkit. So I hope you have fun. Let me know in the comments down below if this is something that you have fun with, if this is something that you would like for me to do more often, so we can keep kind of creating all those different designs together so that you get to practice and you get to get better at designing. By the way, if you want to learn how to design captivating content with Canva for your social media and business, then sign up on the waitlist for my upcoming Canva course for beginners. I'm building the most transformational resource for you to help you become a creative powerhouse, so I can't wait to see you there. I'll be posting this exact design on my Instagram, so make sure you follow me there and subscribe in here too for more Canva tutorials and content creation tips. But don't stop just yet. Watch this playlist in here to get better at design and learn how to create more exciting things in Canva. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.